Hey there, Angular folks, and welcome back. Those of us who work in Angular regularly write this all the time. Well, in Angular 22, we're getting a new service decorator that will replace this in many cases. But it also changes how dependency injection and service scope work in ways that can catch you off guard. Let's take a look. Here's the app we'll be working with. It's pretty simple, but if we click on a user here in this list, we load their posts using an external API. And then, down at the bottom, there's a draft form to create a new post. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Now let's look at the code behind it. Here, we're looking at the service used to fetch the user's list and their posts. This injectable decorator here registers the service as a singleton in Angular's dependency injection system. So anywhere we inject post service, we get the same instance. Below that, we've got a signal for the selected user and a couple of HTTP resource calls that react to it to get the list of users and their posts. Nothing unusual here. This is all standard modern Angular so far, right? And importantly, this works perfectly fine. So the question is, what is the new service actually changing? Well, most services we write look exactly like this, singleton, available everywhere, no custom provider config. But the injectable decorator supports a lot more than that. Use class, use factory, use value, things most apps rarely use. So in Angular version 22, we're getting service as the default case decorator. It assumes the common scenario and removes the extra configuration. So let's swap it in. To change it out, it's pretty easy. We just swap injectable with service and make sure it's imported properly from Angular core. We also remove the providedIn root option too. Then we can remove the injectable import, and that's it. All right, now let's save and see how it works. Perfect. We still see the list of users, which means it's working properly with this new decorator. And when we click a user, we still see their posts. So by default, service behaves like providedIn root. No extra configuration needed. Now this is where it gets more interesting. This new service decorator enforces something new. It does not allow constructor injection. Let me show you. Let's add a simple constructor. We'll just inject something simple here like HTTP client. Okay, now let's save and see what happens. Oops, we get an error letting us know that we can't do this. So constructor injection still works in Angular, but if you use service, it's intentionally not allowed. If you use it, you're opting into modern Angular. No constructor DI. And it's a real guardrail, especially on larger teams where older patterns tend to stick around. Now, let's look at something more subtle, service scope. Here we have a draft post service that is also pretty simple. It manages the state for our draft form, the title, the body, and a computed signal that tells us whether the form is valid. Here, we're already using the new decorator. But in this case, we don't want it auto-provided in the root. Instead, we want whoever uses it to take responsibility for providing it themselves. Why would you ever want that? Well, think about what this service does. It holds UI state, a draft that the user is typing. You don't want that as a global singleton because it would persist across navigation. So we scope it to the component. To do this, we can add an option to the decorator, autoProvided. By default, this is true, so let's set it to false. By doing this and then providing it at the component level, the service's lifetime is tied to the component's lifetime. When the component is destroyed, the service goes with it. This isn't just behavior, it's communication. It tells other developers this service is intentionally scoped. Now, let's see what happens when you ignore this. Let's switch to the TypeScript. Here, we're injecting this draft post service, but notice we haven't provided it yet. That's intentional, for now. We're going to add this component to the app and watch what happens. Now, let's open the app component template. Down at the bottom here, let's add the draft form component. Simple enough. Now, let's wire it up in the TypeScript. Here, we just need to add the component to the imports array. Okay, now that we've included this component, let's save and see what happens. And there it is. We get an error letting us know that there's no provider for this service. This is Angular's DI system walking up the injector tree, not finding the service registered anywhere, hitting the top, and throwing an error. Because we said we didn't want it auto-provided, it's not in the root injector. And we haven't told any component to provide it either, so Angular has no idea how to create it. This can actually be a really common source of confusion for Angular developers. Services that seem like they should just work but don't because they're not properly provided somewhere in the tree. The difference here is that this auto-provided option makes it explicit. You opted out on purpose, and now you need to opt back in at the right level. Okay, now let's fix it. Let's switch back over to the draft panel component. Here, we need to add a providers array. Then we just need to provide the draft post service here. That's it, so let's save and try it now. The draft panel is now here and working with no errors. The submit button activates when we type enough content. And now the lifetime of the service is tied directly to the draft panel component. Mount the component, service is created. Destroy the component, service is destroyed. Exactly what we wanted. This isn't new behavior, but it makes the intent explicit at the service level. So, service is great, but it's not a full replacement for injectable. You should stick with injectable if you need custom provider configurations like use factory, etc., if you need library compatibility, or if you're still using constructor injection. But for many app-level services, service is simpler, more explicit, and pushes you toward modern Angular patterns. And speaking of modern patterns, if you're trying to go deeper on those, especially things like signals and modern forms, I've got a new course available on signal forms that walks through how all of this fits together in real apps. So check out the link in the description below. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.